Nemesis system creates personal interactions with your unique enemies. Every enemy will remember their encounters with you.
Warner Brothers has closed the doors of Monolith Studios, the company that brought us Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. Two fantastic games. Monolith is the creator of one of the coolest new ideas that have come to gaming in years, the Nemesis system. The Nemesis system allows the game to create a unique, dynamic story that responds to the player's actions. The game generates orcs with unique names, appearances, and personalities. Each orc has its own strengths, weaknesses, and motivations, and when the player interacts with an orc, the orc's behavior and personality are influenced by the encounter. Orcs remember their encounters with the player. If you burn them, they'll have burns. If you cut them, they'll have scars. Orcs can engage in power struggles, overthrowing their leaders or being overthrown themselves, creating a dynamic hierarchy that's constantly changing. The Nemesis system works extremely well with the game's Assassin's Creed-style gameplay, making each fight more interesting. Everyone loved it, and Warner Brothers even went to the hassle of patenting the mechanic so no one else can use it until 2036, and even then they could renew the patent if they wanted to. The game's sequel, Shadow of War, fleshed out the Nemesis system with tons of new features and a larger focus on it mechanically, putting you in charge of starting what's basically an orc civil war. Orcs now had factions with different characteristics, and the list of possible attributes for each orc was massively expanded. Add to this the game's stronghold mechanics that saw you fighting massive battles for these big fortresses. All awesome, great stuff. But Warner Brothers screwed Monolith and forced them to put microtransactions in Shadow of War, a single-player game. Not just microtransactions, but loot boxes that would have a random collection of orcs. Loot boxes that would ruin the game's core mechanic. So now, the Nemesis system had terrible monetization hooked to it. The end of the game was designed to become a slog and push you to spend money buying loot boxes. The backlash was massive. Everyone, including myself, was pissed about this monetization being connected to the Nemesis system. And eventually, they listened. The loot boxes were removed. And now, the game's actually super good and feels like a worthy sequel to Shadow of Mordor. So what does Monolith get for constantly pulling their weight, for pioneering one of the most original game mechanics ever made, and for creating probably the best two Lord of the Rings games? They get shut down and laid off, of course. Warner Brothers has shuttered Monolith and locked the Nemesis system away. It's sad to see another studio destroyed by bad decisions at the corporate level. If you do enjoy Monolith Studios' work, if you did enjoy Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor, you should keep an eye out for Cliffhanger Games. This studio has a ton of the lead developers and just a lot of people who worked at Monolith, and this team is now working on a Black Panther game. So it's not all grim news. The future could be bright, even though Monolith and the Nemesis system has been locked away by Warner Brothers. Thanks for watching.